Hi guys, it's David here from Beyond the Kingdoms, and I hope you're all doing really well, staying safe and healthy. Today, I'm bringing back Foodie Fridays with a special mini-series for the next couple of weeks. Now, back around Valentine's Day in 2019, I tested the waters a little bit with a date night at Disney series, providing you guys with some tips on how you can enjoy a special date night while visiting the parks. But I have to admit to you that I stopped it very quickly, and that was because the mere mention of having a husband was met with some resistance. Looking back on it, I kind of regret now that I completely stopped doing it and I let some fear take over me. And in light of recent events and the fact that it's Pride Month, I thought, you know what, it's time to bring it back. But the bonus here is I've decided to tailor it a little bit to the current situation we're in and a request from a viewer. Liz has been a follower of Beyond the Kingdoms from the beginning, and she quite frequently sends me messages about some feedback and her ideas. Now, Liz had a vacation planned back in spring, I think, and she managed to score the free Disney Dining Plan promo. And, like many of you, she had plans to maximize the plan and go to some really expensive, once-in-a-lifetime restaurants. Of course, like a lot of people, her plans got completely canceled, and she's still debating when she's going to return to Walt Disney World. The fact is, she's not going to be getting the dining plan because she would have to pay for it. So she asked me if I can give some tips on the best table service restaurants in the park, specifically when paying out of pocket. And since all dining reservations are canceled for the foreseeable future, I think a lot of you are completely re-looking at dining inside the parks. So this mini-series is going to combine my date night at Disney idea with the best table service restaurants inside the parks. Now remember, date night doesn't necessarily have to be between you and your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your spouse. It can be with anybody, really. I have a date night at least once a year with my niece, and it's really to give her parents a little bit of a break, but it lets us bond in a very special way at the parks. I even had a date night with my mom last year back in December. So in today's episode, I'm going to give you what I think are the best table service restaurants for different date night scenarios, and I'll be doing the same thing for all the other parks in the coming weeks. So let's start with a brief overview. The Magic Kingdom officially has 7 table service restaurants. However, 2 of them are character meals. Since character meals are not going to be available for a while, I'm eliminating them from today's video. I also think comparing character meals to traditional table service is a little unfair. They're very different experiences. So that leaves us with 5 table service restaurants at Disney World's premier park. We've got 2 on Main Street with Tony's Town Square Restaurant and the Plaza Restaurant. Adventureland is home to a newer establishment, the Jungle Navigation Company's Skipper Canteen. Liberty Square is of course home to the Liberty Square Tavern, and Magic Kingdom's most popular restaurant sits at the back of Fantasyland, Be Our Guest Restaurant. All 5 have very different qualities to them. Some are better for my younger couples who consider themselves to be expert foodies, and others offer a more traditional romantic ambiance. And some options might even work well for a cheap date night. But the main factor to consider when dining at Magic Kingdom, no matter who you are, is timing. Since the park has the best fireworks show at Walt Disney World, when you decide to sit and enjoy a meal is very crucial. Now, obviously, fireworks and nighttime spectaculars are sadly not going to take place at the parks for a while. But if you are watching this to start thinking of a trip long off in the future, keep that in mind. Alright, let's look at each of these restaurants a little bit closer so that we can find out which one is best for you. Now, if you and that special someone don't really want to waste too much money on food for your date night, then the Plaza Restaurant at the end of Main Street is the place to consider. And it's mainly because the entrees here range from $19 to $29 only. And in Disney terms, we all know that's a very good price. Now, if your date night doesn't have to include dinner, the Plaza Restaurant is also a good place to consider because you can have a nice casual lunch date here, or even breakfast, and that's because this is one of the very few places that's usually open for all 3 meals of the day. You can have breakfast with a mimosa before your adventures begin, or sit down for a nice lunch in between rides and attractions. It's the best casual option if you ask me. Now, I have to confess to you that I've never eaten here myself, but my recommendations come from a very reputable source, and the restaurant has picked up its reputation in recent years. One item that was highlighted to me was the lobster fried green tomatoes appetizer that's at both lunch and dinner. Disney makes killer fried green tomatoes that I have featured before from Hollywood Studios and Flower and Garden at Epcot. But the simple all-American fare at the Plaza is appealing to those fussy eaters.
If you're the type of person that loves lunch at Casey's or sweet treats from the nearby ice cream parlor, this is a good way to step all of that up a notch. And obviously, it's at a great location for lunch since it's so central. This is why I think the Plaza Restaurant is the best place to go if you're looking for an easy, budget-friendly, and casual date with your sweetheart. Now, over in Adventureland, we have what I personally put on my number 2 spot if I was ranking for my husband and I, and that's Skipper Canteen. This is the youngest restaurant at the Magic Kingdom in that it opened in 2015. It actually replaced a quick service restaurant that was housed here and was called Adventureland Veranda. It opened alongside the park in 1971, but sadly closed in the 1990s. Skipper Canteen is inspired by the world-famous Jungle Cruise attraction. It's run by the same company that employs those cheesy skippers that take you on exotic locations around the world, which explains why the restaurant has a very eclectic collection of menu items. This is certainly the most non-traditional theme park menu at the Magic Kingdom, and that's why I think it's the best place for foodies looking for a date night. One of my personal favorite items here is the curried vegetable cruise stew, but they've also got great starters like the shumai dumplings and the falafels.
Now, the only possible downside to Skipper Canteen is that, like the attraction, the staff here will entertain you with some really over-the-top cheesy jokes, and I think that might intrude on a romantic evening with that special someone. But if date night is with your best friend or a family member and you are looking for some jokes, then it will definitely work.
So like I said before, if you're looking for a departure from burgers, steaks, and a more safe menu, Skipper Canteen is the place for a foodie's date night. I think the menu was even better back when it first opened, but it still balances more dynamic dishes with some safe choices as well for a backup.
Now, our next stop is taking us to the Liberty Tree Tavern in Liberty Square, of course. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This is not the most ideal location for a date night, but I invite you to look a little bit closer to this one. It may be a little unfair to compare this to the rest because it is an all-you-can-enjoy restaurant, but I think this could be another good dining spot from a value perspective.
Now earlier I said something worth thinking about when choosing dining locations at this specific park is timing. I was reminded last year on a trip to the parks with extended family members that if you only have one day at the Magic Kingdom, dinner plans could collide with getting that ideal viewing spot for Happily Ever After. Which is why we had a late lunch at Liberty Tree Tavern. We had a good breakfast in the morning, enjoyed some classic Magic Kingdom snacks throughout the day, and had a late lunch at this colonial-style restaurant so that we could get nice and full early. We barely ate for the rest of the day and got to watch the nighttime spectacular with a prime view in the hub. Now, if you're not one to dine at all-you-can-enjoy restaurants, I also say visit Liberty Tree Tavern for lunch because you have some options. You can either enjoy the Patriots platter, which is priced at $39 for adults and $21 for kids, and it comes with unlimited turkey breast, pot roast, and pork with all the trimmings. Or you can just simplify. You don't have to overdo it, but still have a hearty entree with things like the turkey pot pie.
Either way, Liberty Tree Tavern can accommodate different budgets, and it can be a really good value if you're really trying to stretch that dollar and even possibly trying to skip another meal at some other point in the day. And if you can't really quite shake off the kids for date night and an all-American fare with the whole family around the table is what you want, this is definitely the place to go to.
Now, before I reveal what I think is the best date night table service restaurant at Magic Kingdom, I have to talk about one place that I sadly think is worth a skip. Now, I'm sure at least one family out there watching this loves this restaurant. And if so, who am I to tell you that this place is not worth your time? Enjoy it. But I simply think that Tony's Town Square restaurant doesn't work for several reasons. Now, I've only experienced this restaurant during the Halloween party for a special dining event. Last year, I attended Cruella's Halloween Hideaway, which is a unique dining event in that you get a reserved viewing area for the beloved Halloween parade, but also get to come and go from the restaurant throughout the night. And you get to enjoy unlimited hors d'oeuvres and alcohol. Now, I'm not really going to dive into that because it's a whole other experience, but if you are interested in learning more, check out this video link at the top right-hand corner now. But even though I never sat down for a traditional meal service here, the dining event allowed me to actually sample a big range of dishes and experience the kitchen's skills. And to be honest, the food was just mediocre. I think there are better places in Walt Disney World to experience good Italian cuisine. I also find that the location of this restaurant to be very inconvenient because it's all the way at the entrance to the park. If you're going to dinner after a ride on something like Peter Pan's Flight, that's a big trek to the front of Main Street. Now, it could work if you plan to leave the park after a meal here, or you're arriving later in the night before the fireworks. But the out-of-reach location makes it inconvenient for the traditional guest. The only real selling point to this place, and I really don't think it's a coincidence, is that the fact that it offers dining packages with parades. Not just at the parties, but also for the regular daytime parade, Festival of Fantasy. This particular dining package is priced at $54 for adults and $19 for kids. And I think it'll really make you consider how much you really love that parade. Even if you have the extra money to spend, there are far better places to splurge for date night.
Now this leads us to our final restaurant, Be Our Guest, which is located in the very heart of Fantasyland. This is without a doubt the most romantic option for date night at the Magic Kingdom. The details in here are spectacular. It's one of the most beautiful dining rooms in all of Walt Disney World, and the food definitely matches that elevated ambiance. But not all meal options here are equally good. Be Our Guest is open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner usually, but all three services are very different.
Breakfast here is interesting. According to the Disney dining plan, it still counts as a quick service restaurant, but delivers a traditional table service experience, and that you sit at a table and food is delivered to you. Now, if you're on the dining plan, this is an excellent use of a quick service credit because meals are at a flat value. It's $29 for adults and $16 for kids. But today, we're removing that idea of the dining plan, which then means that Be Our Guest really becomes one of the most expensive breakfast options without going into those heavy character meals. I personally think if the dining plan is off the table, breakfast here can really work against you. Also for the fact that the morning hours at Magic Kingdom are crucial for rope dropping and heading to your favorite popular attractions. Unless you have a very early reservation and you can get in and out before Seven Dwarfs Mine Train starts welcoming guests, I don't think it's a good option. Now, dinner here is no doubt one of the best settings for a classic Disney date night experience. Delicious French cuisine with the picturesque setting is near perfection. But dinner recently became more expensive. Back in 2018, dinner was reclassified as a signature dining experience, meaning that it's worth 2 table service credits on the plan, or more simply, $62 for adults and $37 for kids. If it is in your budget, definitely do it. You'll even get to meet the Beast at dinner. But like I said earlier, I'm not really focusing on those signature restaurants and character meals. Which is why I want to again highlight that a late lunch at Be Our Guest could be the best date night at the Magic Kingdom.
This is my personal top choice when looking for a date night at the Magic Kingdom. Even my husband agrees with me on this one. And he used to be one of those people that thought theme park food was just hamburgers and hot dogs. When I brought him here for a romantic lunch, he loved it. And we both agree that it's the best option at the Magic Kingdom.
Lunch is just like breakfast in that it's classified as a quick service, but your food is brought to you. If you're thinking, David, I don't want to have a date night in the middle of the day, I say don't worry about that so much. It really doesn't matter what time you dine here because a seat in the main ballroom is always set on a nice snowy evening. But like I said, a late lunch seating here will also be very helpful if evening entertainment is in the cards. I think officially lunch runs until about 3 p.m. And the speediness of lunch will also allow you to get more rides in on your date night. If you want a more leisurely paced evening, browsing stores, sipping wine, and a long nice meal, that's what Epcot's for. Magic Kingdom date nights are all about ease so that you can pack in all the great offerings inside the park.
So there you have it, friends. That's what I consider to be the best table service restaurants at the Magic Kingdom when looking for a date night at Disney. Like I said, date night doesn't have to be with your spouse. It can be with anyone. And I hope today's suggestions help you decide where to dine next with that special someone. Whether it's your boyfriend, a family member, or your best friend, the choice is yours. But now I want to know what your date night at Magic Kingdom looks like. What's your go-to restaurant at this park when looking for a romantic evening? Do you go table service or do you go quick service so that you can get on some more rides? Vote for your favorite spot by leaving a comment down below or by voting on one of my posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'll reveal the winning restaurant next time.
If you want to see more Foodie Friday videos, click the link in the top right hand corner now. Or check out the links in the description below with some Foodie Friday videos specifically made for the Magic Kingdom. But until next time, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Stay safe and healthy, and remember, if you can dream it, you can do it.